Kenshi is one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and Biggs Skrumbo is by far the greatest thief in the United States territory. But as you can see, he's a bit of a genetic freak. He literally looks like the human version of a pug. His mother gave birth a little too close to a radiation leak. Dude looks pretty fucked up. And he knows it, too. He wants to have a full-body reconstruction surgery to fix his everything, but he's dirt poor. And surgery's pretty expensive. But he's got a plan. In order to pay for this, he's going to have to go on his biggest job yet. Break into the Imperial Bank of the Traders Guild. It's said that all of the money of the United Cities passed through here, along with a shitload of valuables. Who knows what goodies lie inside? But breaking into the most guarded bank of the Empire is going to be a little tricky. And he can't do it alone. That's why Biggs has hired the most ruthless, cutthroat criminals this side of the Great Desert to help him pull off the biggest heist of his career. Eyeball. You can't find a better doctor on the eastern continent than Eyeball. He's been hired to patch up any wounds that might, spontaneously occur during the jobs. Zert, a brutal Shek warrioress. She's the muscle of the operation. But don't let that sweet Shek pussy distract you. Bitch can hit like a fucking freight train. Red, a pickpocket turned Skrumbo protege. Even though she might not be as good as Biggs, she's still got a hell of a lot of potential. And if we want to haul all that sweet loot to sell off, we're going to need an extra set of sneaky little hands. Jewel. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really know why Jewel is here, other than the fact that she has like an ironic name. Like, Jewel, because we're thieves. You get it? Yeah, you get it. However, she is a pretty good cook, and she's kind of like the heart that holds the crew together, so, she can stay. And finally, we have Snotnose. Best shot in the Great Desert. Could snipe a fly off a Garu's ass for 20 yards. And we're going to need a sniper if we ever run into trouble. Together, these are the Biggs boys, and they're going to pull off the biggest heist in Imperial history. First things first, we actually have to make our way to the Traders Guild capital of Heng. The boys are at Heft right now, and it's currently dealing with a tiny little Holy Nation invasion, so they better get out of here unless they want to cross swords with some pissed off paladin. The lands between settlements and Kenshi are a lawless and dangerous place, filled with poor people, racist people, animal people, and slaver people, but the boys are hardened badasses and can handle themselves. Not too far from Heft, we ran into some art majors, or as I like to say, walking training dummies. The boys needed to stretch their legs, so they decided to wail on these dudes. Good practice. However, after marching a little further, the thieves ran into something much more challenging. A full party of outlaws with 2 bone dogs in tow. The boys could just sneak around them, but they're the Biggs boys, and they don't back down from a challenge. Plus, they might have some good loot on them. Biggs decides that he and Red will outflank the outlaws, while the rest hide behind a rock to ambush them. But Biggs forgot that it's high noon and they're in a desert and there's nothing to hide behind, so he and Red are found out fucking instantly. They run back to the rest of the group and they have no choice but to face the outlaws head on. It's a furious battle and a couple boys go down. Eyeball's running back and forth to try and stabilize who he can, down to the last outlaw and his bone dog, Snotnose, jukes and jives and breaks their ankles to try and get a shot off. The bone dog couldn't handle getting crossed on the court and he dies instantly, and Snotnose finally manages to put a bolt straight through the other dude's chest. After the battle, most of the boys were knocked out cold, and Eyeball had to stabilize all of them to make sure that no one died instantly. Day turned to night, and the boys were exposed, lying in pools of their own blood. What I wouldn't give for sleeping bags right now. And then some random ninja came out of nowhere and asked the boys for some money. The crew gave it to him. They'd be making 10 times more than that anyway. Plus he was a shinobi thief, and thieves gotta look out for one another. Sure hope he doesn't get mauled to death by skimmers like 10 seconds later, though. One by one, the crew recovered, surrounding the campfire, slowly recovering from their wounds. Direct confrontation isn't their strong suit, but it's good to know that they can handle themselves in a fight. It was decided that staying in one spot was too dangerous. Who knows who would come by next? So the least crippled people carried the most crippled people on their shoulders, and the crew continued their journey towards Heng. Night turned to day, and after hours of walking and avoiding wandering bands of slave hunters, the boys noticed something off in the distance. Buildings. It wasn't Heng, it was a slave mining operation. Hundreds of slaves toiled in the mines, surely to meet their masters' efficient and environmentally friendly car battery quotas. Surprisingly, when we approached the gate, they didn't beat us, strip us, shave us, and put us in chains. They weren't exactly friendly either, but they let us pass through. They probably thought we were merchants or traveling performers or something. They let the crew trade for food and rent beds in their slaver inn. Super affordable too for my cheap ass. The boys rested in their mid-ass beds and recovered from their wounds. While the boys rested, Biggs scouted around town to see what there was, and funnily enough, there was a noble living here. No doubt the mastermind of the operation, Slave Master Reuben. It seems like she owns all the slaves, the whole settlement, the bar, everything. No doubt an incredibly wealthy individual, and Biggs knows the perfect way to repay her for her hospitality. The boys were gonna rob this bitch blind. Here's the plan. The crew is gonna do fucking nothing. We're gonna wait and see if there are any routines we could exploit to pull off the job. Guard rotations, times where the noble house is unlocked, that sort of thing. During the night, Biggs and Red are going to scout the town to see if there are any other places to visit and acquire souvenirs before the crew move on. Engaging stealth mode, these two boys are on the prowl. The first house they invite themselves into has absolutely fucking nothing in it. Kinda weird, but they move on. Next on the list is visiting these shops by the gate. The shops turn out to be full of slaves, nothing of value, so we keep moving. Yeah, there's really nothing to steal in this mining town, except for whatever's in the noble house, so the thieves return to the inn and wait until day. When day breaks, Biggs and Red decide to sneak behind the noble house and wait for an opportunity to slip in. And they waited, and waited, and waited. Hours passed by, and the doors stayed locked, and the guards didn't move. Biggs almost called the heist off, until the doors finally opened. Slave Master Reuben was going on her daily noon stroll through the slave camp. This was the perfect opportunity to sneak in, and what the thieves saw was incredible. Fancy rugs, ceramic bowls, pearl cups, vases, and sword holders, luxury goods. The lobby alone held more value than every single one of the boys combined, so the thieves got to work packing as much as possible onto their inventories. What the kids call an easy lick. One problem. Turns out the thieves were not alone. Reuben has a family. When they saw disgusting poor people in their house, they tried to call for the guards, but Red was playing 5D chess and locked the door behind her. This simple burglary job quickly got out of hand and became a full-blown home invasion. Hey, they had no choice, alright? They were put in a self-defense situation. They had to defend themselves. After the brats had been taken care of, we steal their noble drip, scuff their yadas, and rob the fuckers blind. We take quite literally everything that isn't nailed down. Biggs tries to put the unconscious noble back in bed, but he just couldn't. I'm gonna be real, I don't know why, so we simply have no choice but to leave them in puddles of their own blood. At least they'll pass out surrounded by their luxuries. Oh wait. After bullying the local 1%, the rest of the crew gets a signal to skip town. As the boys were trying to link up outside of the town, a guard tries to stop us. Chasing the boys outside the city limits, I thought we were done for, and we have to fight an entire town full of slavers, just the 6 of us. But thank Akron, the guard was hit by spontaneous dementia and forgot where he even was. The boys could slip away without a problem. The heist was an absolute success. The boys continued to march through the wilderness, and that's when we see it. Hang. And more importantly, Trader's Edge. The location of the Grand Imperial Bank. We enter Hang with no issues and shack up with our fellow shinobi thieves at their tower. And conveniently, we have the perfect angle to observe the bank. It seems to be completely surrounded by trader guards. It's going to take a couple of days to get a plan together, but the crew won't be doing nothing in that time. They'll be training day and night, honing their skills for the last job. We sell off all the loot from the slaver job to our shinobi brothers, everything except for the drip. We're going to be saving that for later. Next thing on the list is to go out on the town, see what's exactly in this place. We have a bar full of degenerates, slavers, mercenaries, wenches, just fucking everything. We have a robotics shop, but none of us are robots, so that's not exactly relevant. Maybe we could pawn some stuff off to them. Farm shops, clothing shops, weapon shops. Yeah, we're going to have to check out these places after hours. Finally, it's time to scope out the bank. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of security. There's the teller, and there's the guard, but that's it. It's the getting into the bank that's going to be the hard part. But I can see safe after safe, full of treasures, enough to not only retire on, but to fix Biggs's fucked up body too. Red returns to Shinobi Tower satisfied with her intel. The group continues to train, but when night falls, Biggs and Red go back out on the prowl for some easy targets. Red takes some loser's shop, and Big takes on the general storage for the whole town. Everything goes about as smooth as Ricswaza brain on Skrumbo's end, but Red accidentally woke up the owner of the shop. She gets out of there, but this owner just won't fucking let it go. Like, dude, I was browsing your wares after hours, so what? Leave me alone. Fucker starts getting violent. so we're put into another self-defense situation. Luckily for me, I have backup. I got my shinobi bros with me. Absolute ride or dies. We run this dude's fade, but now we have a new problem. We have an unconscious police officer bleeding out in our base. And I don't want the brand of cop killer on me, alright? I'm not that based. But it seems we have no choice. Looking outside, there's a full-blown brawl between thieves and piggies. These motherfuckers fight on the streets! Eyeball runs in whenever there's an officer down and loots him for everything he's got in his wallet. The rest of the crew decide to mind their own business and continue training. Night turns to day, and these fucking cops just won't leave us alone. The brawl is still going on. But Biggs decides this would be the perfect time to pay the local noble a visit. Didn't know the guy's name. I didn't care. The only thing that matters is that the door was open and we Naruto ran straight in there. Same as the slaver job, we went in and started nabbing things that weren't nailed down. Unfortunately, it was exactly like the slaver job, and this dude also had a family. So we sneak past them and make it to the second floor and start stealing their personal belongings. When I guess we stepped on a creaky floorboard or something because one of them came up to investigate. We deal with them, knock them out cold. Satisfied with the loot we got, we make it back to base. Literally next door, with a sign that says thieves. They won't suspect a fucking thing. Biggs and Red were going to sell off all of the loot, but there were no thieves to be found. They'd all been arrested on bullshit charges of disturbing the peace and assaulting a police officer. They went to the police station to see if they can trade with the imprisoned thieves, and they technically could, but the dude had no money, and we can't stay in town with all this contraband, so the only thing they could do was leave town and go to another town with a shinobi thief headquarters in it, and see if they could trade there. But with the rest of the thieves gone, Zert and Jewel and the rest thought they'd take the opportunity to redecorate all of the shinobi thieves' belongings into their inventories. First up on the list of towns was Stoat, whatever, in the Great Desert. When Biggs and Red show up, they forgot the thieves don't have a headquarters in Stoat, so they leave Stoat and move on to Shobatai. Also, Stoat was in the middle of a Holy Nation invasion, so it'd be best not to stay anyway. By nightfall, they make it to Shobatai, but something weird is going on. The cops are beating the absolute shit out of thieves. Biggs dismisses it as standard police brutality and sees if he could find someone to trade with. No dice. The tower's in the middle of getting purged, and it seems they already got to the trader. Looks like Big Skrumbo and Red are going to have to move on to Heft. But this is weird. Why are police actively attacking members of the shinobi thieves? Maybe they'd find more answers in the capital. The sun rises over the Great Desert, and realization dawns over Biggs and Red. The cops got to the thieves here, too. The answer is so clear now. The story from Heng must have gotten out, that shinobi thieves defended themselves from the police protecting their own, and the Emperor must have issued an empire-wide purge of all shinobi thieves. The Biggs boys are losing allies by the hour. They gotta sell this contraband quick. And finally do the bank heist. It's now or never. Red manages to find the trader in the middle of the purge, and the duo can finally sell off their contraband. They heal up whatever thieves they can and make the long hike back to Heng. But when they make it back to Heng, just like the most out-of-place shit is happening. The invasion that hit Stoat reached Heng, and the streets are filled with paladins. Yeah, it really is now or never for this heist. But because of the Holy Nation invasion, all of the cops are busy, and a lot of shopkeepers have been knocked out. Yeah, I'm just going to be taking all of that, and all of this. Yeah, that too. Yeah, I need all of it. I need your stuff more than you do, dude. And yeah, okay, we get into a little kerfuffle, but the Biggs boys have been training non-stop for a week straight. Oh, and also there's a Holy Nation invasion happening. So even though we get knocked down, we still take down any shop guards that want to be heroes. Now absolutely overburdened with enough goods to start our lives again somewhere else, and also recovering from our wounds, we take our positions for the final heist to take place. Here's the plan. Trader's Edge is absolutely crawling with security, brightly lit so there's no real place to hide. But every once in a while, there's a changing of the guard in front of the bank. When that happens, Biggs and Red have a small window to slip into the bank. Once there, they'll sneak around to the main vaults, take everything of value, and wait for the signal from the others that another guard swap is happening. Then they'll have a window to slip out and run into the night. The crew take positions behind the bank, and the two thieves wait by the entrance. The guards change, and by a miracle, Biggs and Red slip on in through a crack in the door. They're in. And immediately the plan goes to shit. Red thinks it'd be easier to loot the place if they took care of the sleeping guards. The literal femtosecond that she goes to kidnap one, they both spring up, kick the piss out of her, and go to throw her in jail. Biggs, with his natural talents, hides in the shadows, and the guards miss him completely. Best thief in the Empire for a reason. Doesn't matter, we stick to the plan. Biggs gets to work looting shop counters and breaking into the secure vault of the traders. Another problem, though. It turned to day, and the bank has reopened for the day. Biggs is now stuck inside the bank, surrounded by very, very awake guards. But the fucking big dumb idiots don't realize someone's in the bank with them. Biggs will continue to crack the safes, but now he'll have to improvise. But when he cracks those safes, man, Leviathan pearls, a bunch of them, going for 12,000 cats a pop. Power cores, Ryzen 2700X processors, strings and strings of cats, and a book, weirdly enough. Yeah, Biggs is gonna take that. The rest of the crew wait right outside the bank window while Red is now conscious and trying to unlock her cage. Biggs had no way of taking all the loot out with him now that he was down a man, so he came up with a galaxy-brained 5D chess maneuver of slipping all the goodies out the window to his gangmates just outside. And it worked perfectly. Now with all the loot from the bank safely in their backpacks, the only thing left now is to make an escape. Red had unlocked her cage a while ago, and now during the night is when she'd make her escape. Biggs was just finishing up throwing the rest of the loot out the window, and with the vaults now emptied, it was time to slip away. They're actually gonna do it. They were actually just gonna walk right out the front gate with the biggest haul of their lives. But as Red was sprinting to catch up, she was recognized by a guard. She caught up with the rest of the boys outside the city, but the guard was just making too much noise. Was this it? Were they gonna get caught and all that progress would be for nothing? But luckily, and this is the first time anyone would ever say this, a group of slavers were nearby and managed to scare off the guard. They thought about enslaving Red, but they just didn't think it was worth it. If only they knew that this group of homeless nobodies just pulled off the biggest heist in Imperial history. They did it. They actually did it. And now they're off to start a new life somewhere else. But Big Skrumbo has to take care of something first. He's got to pay a quick visit to the local plastic surgeon.